Have you ever worked for a woman in leadership who was honestly harder to work for than most men? The one who made everything a competition, questioned your worth, and turned the workplace into a quiet battlefield. Welcome to the Human Edge, where you master your mind, strengthen your life, and show up as your best self when it matters the most. Hi, I'm Jennifer Rist. I'm a human performance strategist and the creator of the CLEAR method. And today we're going to break down the Mean Girls Club. Not the movie version, but the behavioral pattern that shows up in women leaders under pressure and what to do if you work for one. So how many of you work for women leaders? I'm a woman. I've worked for many women leaders. Some are good. Some are part of the Mean Girls Club. I have to admit, probably more than half have been part of the Mean Girls Club. Yes, I have to say that. Even being a woman, there are women leaders that you should stay away from and can stay away from. But the big question here is, why does this even happen in the first place, right? I'm a woman leader, but I don't want to be portrayed as one of these Mean Girls Club individuals because it is awful. And frankly, as a woman, I would much rather work for a man than I would work for a woman and take that kind of chance, because it's all about psychology. This isn't about bashing women at all. This is about understanding leadership psychology under stress, especially for high achieving women who feel, and this is the most important part, is that they feel like they have something to prove. And if you don't have that kind of thought process or strategy, or you don't feel like threatened as a woman leader, I think you'll be amazing. But there's so many who feel like they have something to prove, that they have to prove that they're better than the other women out there, and more importantly, better than the men. And it becomes a problem. And women leaders face double the scrutiny that men face in leadership evaluations. Harvard Business Review found that women are rated less likely, or less likable rather, when they show the exact same assertive behaviors as men. So men seem to have the upper hand in some areas, so they have to work a lot harder. Women have to work a lot harder in order to be likable, according to the study. Very interesting, right? But a 2023 McKinsey and Lean In report found that women are twice as likely as men to have their competence questioned and 1.5 times more likely to have their judgment second guessed. So that's another pressure, right? Combine those pressures with perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and workplace bias, and yes, you get a cocktail that can turn even brilliant and great women into defensive, ego-driven leaders. So when people feel like they're fighting for legitimacy, they often overcorrect with control, competitiveness, and that hierarchical, if I could get that out of my mouth. I don't even think I can say the word. That thinking, that structure of, corporate ladder thinking, which is very strange, and some flat out queen bee behaviors. So these aren't personality flaws, they are survival strategies for them, or they think they are. But survival strategies can become really toxic really fast when they turn into proving, posturing, or protecting status, right? This is where it gets dangerous. So let's talk about the Mean Girls Club pattern. These leaders usually exhibit a predictable set of behaviors. Here are the top 5. The first is competence policing. So everything has to be done their way. You feel micromanaged. You feel critiqued all the time and compared. The second trait is zero-sum thinking, where your success feels like a threat to them. Did you ever work for somebody and you feel like, not necessarily that maybe you know more than them, it depends on how long you've been with the company, but you feel like you're giving your best, you're trying to be the shining star for your boss, and she still feels like, or treats you like you're a threat. You can't get promoted, you don't get credit for anything, there's no visibility, and they guard it like it's their territory. I've worked for a few people like that, I have to admit, and it's not fun. The third is selective inclusion. So one day you're in, one day you're invisible. It's emotional roulette, so you're in, you're out, you never quite know where you stand. The fourth is image over substance. So they need to look like the most capable women in the room. And if you're another woman in the room, you can't look more capable than they do. So they protect their brand at all costs, even at the team's expense. And unfortunately, they are the type of leaders that don't ever have your back. And when you fall in the middle of other leaders, they love to watch you crumble. Unfortunately, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Fifth is punishing independence. So if you are an independent thinker, like I'm a pretty entrepreneurial and independent thinker, even within my corporate role, but if you shine too brightly, they dim your light fast. And if you think for yourself, they see you as competition. So this isn't women are catty talk at all. This is women reacting to environments where being seen as strong, competent, and worthy feels constantly threatened. So how can you spot one early? Because not all women leaders are bad. Not all women leaders belong to the Mean Girls Club. Some are not part of one today, but become part of one based off of the culture of the company that they go to work for, or other stress factors. So sometimes very good and solid women become part of the club, and that is a risk. So how can you spot one early? Here are the early warning signs you're dealing with the Mean Girls Club leader, and the leader is even worse than the rest of the Mean Girls Club. First is they brag about being not like other women. So as soon as you hear that coming out, guess what? Red flag. This signals internalized competition. The second is they use hierarchy. I can't say that word. Hierarchy, going up the corporate ladder to feel powerful. So they use status to feel powerful. Titles and status matter more than team success. Third is they downplay other women, especially. So women are unfortunately especially mean and meaner to women than they are to men. So if she talks negatively about other women leaders, she will do it to you too. So that's kind of the strategy with most people, is if they are gossipers and they talk about other people to you, they're talking about you to other people. So just so you know that. Number 4 is they love being the exception. So I had to work harder than everyone else. No one helped me out. I survived, so you shouldn't, you should have a hard road too. Like, it's like these town criers, like, oh, things were always terrible and I had to claw my way to the top. Yeah, look out for that one. And number 5 is they don't mentor. They gatekeep. So they're truly not leaders that try to teach and shape you. They're women, many women who feel threatened, and they rarely lift up others. So they're very self-centered. They're all about themselves, and they don't try to support anyone else, and especially the people that are on the team. So when you are a doer on the team, when you're a contributor, right? You're trying to show your best. You're trying to get into more leadership roles. You're trying to grow professionally, get promoted, have other opportunities. But many of these women leaders will not make that happen, because if you are a good worker for them, they will keep you right where you are, because you're perfect for making them shine without them telling you how amazing and awesome that you really are. So if you are in this situation, how do you survive or avoid them? First, you don't want to trigger their ego ever. This doesn't mean shrinking yourself, but it means framing yourself as an ally, not as a rival. So you want to use language like, I want to help amplify the work that you're doing, or saying something like, here's how I can support your goals. You're signaling, I'm not here to compete, I'm here to contribute, and I'm here to make you shine. So you got to use some language to make them feel like they're amazing. Number 2 is limit vulnerability. So keep these leaders, they're sometimes, they weaponize information, right? So you want to just limit that. Keep conversations professional, not personal. Don't get into talking about your personal life. I know some male leaders that are like that. When you talk about your personal life, they kind of gossip and tell a lot of other people, and it's not anybody's business. So I suggest that for all areas is to keep your personal life personal. Number 3 is build horizontal alliances so people at your level can become your support network. This reduces dependence on the said toxic leader. So support each other to get through it, because I'm sure if you're on a team, you're not in it alone and you're not the only one being targeted. Number 4 is document everything. So this is a CYA opportunity, not as a threat, but as protection. So when insecurity fuels unpredictable behavior, clarity is your shield. So every time they give you a project, they tell you to do something, the smart thing to do is always go back in an email. As per our discussion, we agreed I would tackle these things by this date. And then you have an email and be like, please confirm. Or if I've misunderstood, please come back. And then if something blows up and they blame you and they say that's not what you said, you can always go back to that email and say, hey, I sent you this email. Either they didn't acknowledge it, or they did acknowledge it and said it was exactly what you guys discussed. And then you actually have some proof behind what you understood, right? So do that. And number 5 is set boundaries with precision. So short, neutral, repetitive boundaries. Boundaries matter. Boundaries matter everywhere. With your family, with your friends, everywhere. Because when you become a people pleaser, you dim your light and you don't do the things that you want to do. And oftentimes you put yourself in situations that really can cause you a lot of anxiety, stress, and strain. So boundaries matter. You could say something like, I'm only available until this time, maybe till 5 o'clock, or I'm in need of 24 hours for reviewing this document or this project, or something like, this falls outside of my scope. Can you clarify my priorities? And always come back with an email, something in writing. Got to do that many times. A 6th area is decide if it's a season or if it's a pattern. Ask yourself, is this situational stress or their personality under pressure? If it's a pattern, plan your exit gracefully. Find another team to join. Maybe look at another company. Really consider if it is worth it, especially if you are really stressed out in a bad situation. It's never worth it to put yourself through that. And if you are the leader, do the inner work. Take a look at yourself and say, am I really like this? Am I controlling? Am I not lifting my team up? Am I not protecting them like I should as a leader? If you see yourself in any of this, you're not alone, because it happens to the best of us. But this behavior forms under pressure, not malice. And the real fix is building self-awareness, healing competitiveness, learning collaborative power, and rewriting old narratives about worthiness. Because sometimes we all get stuck in bad situations where maybe we're in toxic environments ourselves, right? But we can't lead down to our teams in that pattern, because it's just not the right thing to do, and it's creating a culture of that, right? So we need to stand up and be better leaders. So women don't need to emulate masculine leadership to be respected. Women need to model integrated leadership. So my final thoughts on this subject is that the future of leadership won't be built by women shrinking or women competing, because it's not that. It will be built by women leading with strength and emotional clarity, not in fear. So if this resonated at all, subscribe to The Human Edge with Jennifer Rist. for more insights on human performance, emotional mastery, and leadership in the age of AI. And hopefully you got something out of this. Please consider subscribing, please consider sharing, and we will see you all on the next video.